last time I saw my father we didn't really talk. Nothing unusual about that. We never really talked. We were more comfortable with awkward silence. Anyway, I can still picture him in that moment, preoccupied, and whatever was on his mind I knew instinctively that I should maintain the silence. So I did. I know now that he was probably thinking about his mate from the army who'd moved overseas many years ago. He was probably flying into the country while Dad and I were standing in silence. They'd seen some nasty things together, and I wouldn't be surprised if they'd done their fair share too. Dad didn't talk about it much, but you can tell when someone has issues like that. His mate didn't mess around anyway. Old habits die hard, it seems, because he was barely in the country and he was being inventive about how he was going to travel to see Dad. We live a fair distance from the airport, so a taxi was out of the question. So was a hire car, apparently. When he arrived, Trixie wasn't too happy to see him, but that meant nothing to Dad. They got straight down to business without me, off doing their secret planning. I'm pretty sure that they must have been completely organised in advance, because they were barely together, and they were off, completely organised, in agreement, with a good idea of what was waiting. I wonder if he'll reminisce with his mate about the good times they had together. Must have been some interesting stuff overseas. Couldn't all be bad. If not memory sharing, what else? When they got there, it was all systems go, no looking back. They just marched in like they owned the place and didn't mess around. They didn't want to hurt anybody, not if they didn't have to. I wonder if Dad managed to keep the happy thoughts going through all that excitement. Would have been difficult, I imagine. All in all, things went pretty well. They got back to their stolen car with the cash and dangerously high adrenaline levels for a couple of old blokes. It was only going to be a short drive before they ditched the car, but sure enough, they couldn't be so lucky. Well, they certainly hadn't done all that planning just to get caught. I don't know if it was the adrenaline driving or some rediscovered vitality, but from what I saw on the news, they certainly made the most of it. For a while anyway. Dad would have been thinking that at their age, they got nothing to lose. Maybe that was it. They weren't going to wait to die of old age. They were going to get themselves killed. He isn't a lucky person normally, so of course he missed out on death by desperate gun battle as he would have wished, and ended up, well, up the shit. I think he's settling in at least, which is just as well. It may be his last residence. He'll probably tell me that anyway. I'm on my way to see him, so I'll find out soon enough. This is the best chance we've had for a talk in a long time. I think we've got a lot to catch up on. Just as well they gave him a few years.